Okay, well, we are ready for math for today. I need to put your thinking caps on today. It's not that hard. It involves a little bit of subtraction today, but our goal for today is finding missing angles. The standard says I can use the addition of adjacent angle measures to solve problems using a symbol for the unknown angle measures. That sounds complicated, doesn't it? It's not that hard. So what we've got in each problem today, and I'm working through the problem set, so it's going to be a lot like your homework assignment. And so pay attention so you know how to do this today. It's not hard. Basically, what we're doing is trying to find a missing angle or angles for each little picture. So first off, what we have here is we have a 20-degree angle. We have this little acute angle that's 20 degrees. And the directions are solve for D. Now, they call these little things arcs. So this arc is what kind of the inside measure of the angle. So look at this arc. This goes all the way around from one side of that angle to the other. So if we were to go inside there, we know that makes, just like that, that would make a circle. And how many degrees is a circle? We should know that now. So total all the way around of a circle is 360 degrees. We know that. We've learned that. And this angle is just part of that 360 degrees. This angle is 20 degrees. So if I take that 20 degrees away from the whole circle, then that's going to tell me how big this angle is, angle D is. So I'm going to subtract the acute angle from the measure of a whole circle, which is 360. Let's subtract here. That's pretty simple math. So angle D is 340 degrees. So if you have a problem that looks like this, where it kind of forms a circle, obviously that's a huge obtuse angle, isn't it? Then you've just got to subtract the acute angle, the little angle, from 360 degrees, and you'll find your answer. Not so bad. Let's go to the next problem. Now this one is the same type of thing, but we don't have an acute angle this time. What do we have? We have a right angle. So what is the measure of this right angle? They just expect we know that. And I know you do. You know it's 90 degrees. The right angle is 90 degrees. So now we're trying to find the measure of angle C. And just like the one we just did, if we drew that circle all on around, you would see that this much of the circle, 90 degrees of the circle, is taken already by this angle. So we need to know how much of the circle is C. So we, just like we did, a whole circle is 360 degrees. Remember last week we talked about this. There's 4 90-degree angles inside a circle. We've only got one of them here, so we're going to take that away, 360 minus 90. And we're going to subtract. And we are going to get 270. So angle C is 270 degrees. Are you getting this? Okay, let's look at the next one here. Now this one, we got to think a little bit more, but it's still not that hard. So instead of having one angle to make up this whole circle, now we have 2 angles. We know this angle is an acute angle. It's 74 degrees. And this has that little box, so we know this is a right angle right here. It's 90 degrees. So imagine all of these together, remember, make a whole circle. They make 360 degrees together. Now there's a couple ways that you can do this, whichever way you like. The best way to do this is take both of these and add them together and then subtract that from 360. Or you can subtract them one at a time, whichever way you want to do. But notice we have this whole circle here. And this much of the circle we know, so we're trying to find this part. So if we take these 2 parts, and then we'll know, and add them together, then we'll know what's missing out of the 360 degrees. So let's do that. Let's do 90 and 74. Now what I'm going to find when I measure 90 plus 74 is from here to here. Okay? That's 90-degree angle plus a 74-degree angle is a 164-degree angle. So I know those 2 added together equal 164 degrees. Now I've got to find the rest of my circle, Okay, so I take that 360 and I take out the part that I know, 164, and I'm going to subtract to find what's left, what this measure of this angle E is. So we've got to subtract. Like I said, lots of subtracting today. 10 minus 4 is 6. Can't take 6 away from 5. Got to borrow. And our answer is 196 degrees. So angle E is 196 degrees. So again, we're looking at the whole circle, 360 degrees. We know these two angles equal together 164. So we just took the measure of a whole circle, 360 degrees, and took that much away to find out the rest of it. Okay, I'm kind of just being a detective, finding missing angles. Let's look at another problem. Okay, so this is the same thing. We've got, if we can imagine a whole circle here with me. So we always start with 360 degrees when they look like this. And we want to know what measure F is, what angle F is. And we know 160 from here to here. And we know this is a right angle, so this is 90 degrees. So we know from here to here is going to be 90 degrees plus 160 degrees. So let's add them together. And we know these two together equal 250 degrees. From here to here is 250 degrees. But we need to know what it takes to make the rest of the circle angle F. So we're going to take 250 and subtract it from the measure of the degrees in a whole circle. Remember, 360. And we're going to subtract. And we know angle F is 110 degrees. Okay, not too bad. Now we're going to get into a different kind of problem on these right here. Just a little trick here. All right, so now we've got two angles that we know and two angles that we don't know. So altogether, we know these are 360 degrees. But remember, a straight angle, or makes halfway around the circle, is 180 degrees. So we know from here to here, 160 and 20, it's a total of 180 degrees. That's a straight line. And that means from here to here will also be a total of 180 degrees. But the problem is, well, we don't know what that one is, and we don't know what that one is. So we're going to have to look at the intersecting lines to find out. And so here's what we're going to do. If we go from A to B, we say that's a straight line too. So from A to B is a straight line, and that's 180 degrees. And we know that this angle right here is 160. So if I know that from here all the way around to here is 180, and this far is 160, then I can take 180 minus 160 to find out what angle Y is. And if we subtract, we find that angle Y is 20 degrees. Now, how do you want to go from here? We can do one of two things. Well, if we know this is 20 degrees, then we know that angle X plus angle Y have to equal 180. So we can do 180 minus 20 degrees. So we're trying to figure out all the way from here. We know this much is 20. So we're trying to find out how much X is. And that will be 160 degrees. So there we go. Not so bad. Just remember, on these kind, you got to use the straight line to find the missing angles. And a straight line is 180, where a circle is 360. Okay? A straight angle, I should say. Now, let's go to the next problem. Same type of problem right here. We've got some intersecting lines, and it tells us that TOS is 125 degrees, and we've got to find G, H, and I this time. But that's not that hard. Let's think about what we know. We know this straight angle right here, RS. So from here to here, we know that equals a total of 180 degrees. Whoops, sorry. And we know that this much of that is 125. So I can solve for G by taking 180 degrees and taking this much away to find out what's left. So let's solve for G first. 180 minus 125. I'm going to subtract here, and we're going to get 55 degrees. So angle G then is 55 degrees. So we've got that figured out now. Okay. Now we can do this several ways. We can look at angle I now, and we already know something about angle I. If I was to start here and draw my semicircle, we see straight angle TV. If angle TV is 180 degrees, it's a straight angle, and we know that angle O is 125, didn't we just solve that by going 180 minus 125 to find G? We sure did. So I is going to be 180 minus 125 too. So I is also going to be 55 degrees. Sorry, you can't see that. Now, the only one we have left is H. And I bet you could probably look at this now and guess what H is going to be. So let's do it this way. Let's look right here. So from here to here is a total of 180 degrees, that straight angle there. And we know this much is 55. G is 55, so H has to be 180 minus 55. Do you think you might know what that is? Look at this problem. If you take 180 minus 55, you're going to get 125 degrees. So there we found those three angles. Now, I just looked at that, and you can see that in this problem. But if you needed to subtract 180 minus 55, you could have just done it like that, and you would have got 125 degrees. Okay? All right, so I think you got this. I think you're going to get this just fine. Let's look at another one here. Lots of problems today to work on. So let's take a look and see what we're dealing with here. Okay, got O, K, we've got a right angle, we've got M, and all we know is that this angle right here, XOZ, is 36 degrees. We've got to solve for N, K, and M. We already know this one is a right angle, so it's 90 degrees. So we know the measure of two angles, and we need to find the measure of three angles. All right, how do you want to start? Here's what I would suggest. I say let's go ahead and do the top straight angle right here. So from here to here, from W to X, we know that's going to be a total of 180 degrees, that straight angle. And I know 90 of it is right here, and 36 of it is right here. So all I need to find right now is M. So how am I going to find this missing part? Well, if I know this much and this much, it's like that one problem we did earlier. I can add these two together and take what I get away from 180 to see what the missing piece is. So 180 minus, now I need to do 90 plus 36 to see what they are together. And that equals 126. So I'm going to do 180 minus 126. And I'm going to get 54 degrees. So measure M is 54 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down here. So we've got one of them. Now we've got two more to go. We've got this big one N and this little one K. So let's do this way. Let's do from Z to Y. So Z to Y would be right here. And we know that all the way from here to here is 180 degrees. And I know the measure of this angle is 36. So I can take this 36 away from 180 and find out what this is. So let's do that. 180 minus 36. Subtract, subtract, subtract today. And I'm going to get 144 degrees. So angle N is 144 degrees. It's kind of fun, I think, don't you? And solving the mystery, you really have to think, get all these put together. All right, now, I've got one angle to go, angle K. So we have a couple options. If we were to look at this straight angle YZ, we could go, okay, from here to here is 180. So I could add 90 plus 54 and get, what would that be? 144 and subtract that from 180 and I can get my answer. Or we can just do it a little simpler because we can just look at line or straight angle WX from here to here. And we know that this much is 144. So I can subtract 144 from 180 and find K. So let's do that. 180 minus 144. And I'm going to get angle K is 36 degrees. Okay. And so that's how you're going to work on today's homework. Just make sure that you are either subtracting from 360 if it's a circle like this is, but when you get into some of these problems with intersecting lines, you're going to have to subtract from 180 to find the answers, okay? All right, I think you'll got this. I think you'll do well. Let's go get practicing on this now.